Let's get into the game. Sorry, we've been like, I don't know, like 40 minutes, no game. I'm getting a little bit antsy, a little bit excited, a little bit happy. But here we go. Thank you to the kind, lovely people who took the time to retweet that message about today. We did have a bit of downtime, but we're back at it, obviously, in-game right now, spawning here. Well, before the introductions, let's introduce the series. It is the winner's match of Group C. One of these two players will advance, and one will sadly fall to the finals. But both have an extra life behind them at this point, so fear not. Hendralisk and Desrow fans alike, you will get to see more of your favorite players should they lose this series. But, spawning here in the top right corner of the map, it is going to be the blue Zerg player from Complexity Gaming. We saw him once already today. For the second time, it is Hendralisk. And his opponent in the bottom left. Not on a team, but sponsored by Asus, Corsair, and Chairs for Gaming. It's going to be the red Protoss player. I don't know why I almost said Terran. The red Protoss player, Big Dez. Sorry, I mean Desrow. Desrow. It's Desrow. We're just having a little bit of fun because the Muslim gave him this nickname that I'm trying to force onto him. But yeah, so this matchup is not what I mean ZVP whatever aside for a moment. Hendralisk and Desrow have fought each other multiple times, oftentimes in Canadian tournaments, Canadian lands, Canadian events, Canadian. If you haven't figured it out at this point, they are both Canadian. They're both fantastic Zerg players and Protoss players alike, and I gotta tell you, if this was say let's say half a year ago, 1 year ago, at this same player, same situation, I would give this to Hendralisk hands down every single time, without question. But Desrow has come a long way. He's practiced a lot, he's improved a lot, he's been doing a lot with his community as well. I mean, big shout-outs all around to this guy, because he has come far and away from the Desrow that once was. So, he's got a pretty good shot in the series. I'm not going to give that auto win to Hendralisk. I do think this will go to the 2-1, I just don't know in whose favor. The other thing to Hendralisk too, while we're giving Desrow some appreciation, big love to this guy. He's been streaming a lot lately. His commentary is pretty good, and he's a really funny dude. I like Hendralisk. Rifkin bro, your arms are huge. Are you on the juice, bro? I am on the juice. The apple juice. It's freaking delicious. It's so sweet. It makes you dream funny. Anyways, I'm going to have to not pay too much attention to chat, because we actually have an interesting game ramping up already. We got the 3-hatch gas pool set up here for Hendralisk. So, actually, I think it was pool gas. I wasn't actually looking, too busy talking about these juicing accusations. But the 3rd hatchery coming out early versus a player like Desrow, this kind of works. We talk a lot about what we see out of Desrow, not just in Copa America, but in general. And one of the things is Desrow, he plays a very unique style of Protoss, where we don't really see him put on the aggression that often. We have seen him do 4 gates. Hell, we've seen him do an 8 gate, but we rarely see that happen. It's not the common or the go-to. And for Hendralisk, he probably knows this full well, so he says, you know what, I can comfortably take this 3rd, I can play a little bit greedy in the opening, and we'll see where the game goes from here. Because Hendralisk as well, he's not one of those players that gets caught droning. Well, he does sometimes, actually, I should rephrase that, but more often than not, again, this comes down to the fact that we typically don't see Hendralisk making 14 drones when he knows he needs 7 roaches type thing. But we'll see just the way this plays out here. Wait to see what Desrow's tech choice is going to be. I mean, he could open with a Stargate. I really am a big fan of the Phoenix openers. Bam! Well, actually, it'll probably be an Oracle into Phoenixes, but I imagine it's going to be Phoenixes one way or the other with Desrow. Because he does play that macro game really well, and that's what complements it quite nicely. Like, if you go Phoenixes, it really forces your opponent to play the, oh, you're going for Colossus as a follow-up game. So you get the Hydras, you get the Roaches, you get the Vipers, you get the cool back and forth that ends up being this this matchup PvZ. But I think one of the things, of course, is going to be what comes out of the Stargate first. Now, I'm assuming an Oracle once again, but actually with the way it's rallied, probably going to be a Phoenix. So, straight to Phoenixes. Okay. For Hendralisk in the meantime, though, his 3rd base is up. If it is going to be Phoenixes, it's going to be a nuisance. The question is, how much does he dedicate to the defense? For a long time, we saw 2 Spore Crawlers go down, and that was the standard, nothing more, nothing less, per base. But I've actually been seeing players start investing in a little more Queens and a little bit less Spore Crawlers. Not that it's any more or less cost efficient, but I guess the Queens are just good to have for the follow-up on the ground. Lings will not get to scout this base, sadly, but he's already got a pretty good eyeball on what's coming. Saw the Stargate go down. Now Phoenix is revealed, and Desrow will dictate the pace of the game, pretty much. Hendralisk could try and go for a speedling on him. I've seen some Hydra speedlings work well as a follow-up to this, because one of the downsides to Phoenixes is while they're good, they're harassive, they're incredibly annoying, they can't possibly lift up all the Zerglings in the world. They just don't have the Graviton Beam energy to do that. So this could be a bit of a problem. He's got to put a force field down. Yeah, Zealot does get really low, but keeps it alive. Opts to go for the rocks instead. Not a bad choice as a follow-up. He could possibly get the gateway instead. I think it might be a better choice, just on account of the fact that there's more surface area there. But he breaks through. Desrow was not ready for this. Did not have a second force field available. Chronoed out that warp gate, trying to get more done, but Photon Overcharge popped here in the natural, and Hendralisk causing a bit of panic. Kills the pylon. This opens up a bigger, I guess, hole in the wall, so to speak. But a force field comes down and 2 Zealots to escort it. So these Lings will not get much more done. And Hendralisk, had he chose to go for some sort of all-in, perhaps could have done more damage. But realizing that, okay, wait, my opponent still went for Phoenixes, I don't have any anti-air, starts throwing on Spore Crawlers on each of his bases. He droned up like crazy behind this on 46 workers over the 37 of Desrow. In a pretty good spot, economically speaking, here to the middle of the game. But, of course, he's still going to have these Phoenixes to worry about and deal with, and they will be incredibly pesky and frustrating and annoying. And, well, we'll see if it gets out of hand. The other thing I like, we didn't really talk about this, about him taking the third base here so early. This will give him a lot of extra creep spread down the map. It's funny, there was once upon a time, like, you wouldn't even spread creep period versus Protoss, but creep spread is definitely a beneficial part of the matchup. You're going to lose a lot of the overlords you have floating around the map, so groups, or not groups, I'm saying creep tumors. I'm just pulling random upgrades out of the Zerg player's repertoire here. But creep tumors will be cloaked, they'll be on the ground. Yeah, they'll eventually get cleaned up, but they will give that vision that overlords lack, as we see Hendralisk has to withdraw all the overlords at this point. Sadly, this queen was a little bit exposed, so she looks like she will die. Poor girl. Loses an overlord on top of that too, definitely being a nuisance. But yeah, 2 queens, a Spore Crawler, not a problem. Might lose an overlord too. Oh, actually transfuses it. Nice call. Keeps that alive. But Desrow's moving towards the Colossus follow-up. Now, this is a little bit interesting because I'm not quite sure what Hendralisk has in store here. His lair is coming up here in a moment, so we'll probably see the Hydralisk then come down most expectedly. But does he rush to that Hive? Because Hydras and Roaches are fine. They can dance in the mid-game. They can certainly tussle with the Phoenixes and the whatever warping of Sentries and Zealots. But for the most part, you're really looking towards that late-game composition, and Vipers are going to be that more than anything else. But there's the Hydra Den, there's the Lings. So Ling Hydra, again, this is a composition that does and can work. Hendralisk doesn't have a lot of upgrades invested into this, but it's not exactly like Desrow got a huge head start either. Got the Observer poking down the middle part of the map, just looking to see what's going on. Obviously, it doesn't have any creeps from potential or creep clearing potential here with him, but it's the idea of seeing with maybe the army moves out, where the Lings are, bouncing around. Hendralisk as well, trying to keep an eye on these Phoenix. Creep spread, creep vision, going to give him all of that, what he needs for that. Now, it's a little bit scary for these Hydralisks. It's worth noting, guys, well, 16 at a time, this might not be that scary. Hydralisks come out one at a time. They get Graviton beamed up by the Phoenixes. They go down very quickly. They are light units, and Phoenixes have that wonderful bonus damage, but we'll see if that's going to be enough. Groove Spine's coming out. I don't think he's going to get that opportunity to pick them off, and Desrow is actually going to withdraw from creep clearing here. Janitorial custodial duties put on hold. Very interesting 4th base taken by Hendralisk. For a multitude of reasons, but above all else, this will creep block Desrow's typical 4th, which might force him to go up here. Actually, Desrow will probably take this base anyways. It's a lot safer because you don't want to expand towards your opponent. But a very bold, very interesting move out of Hendralisk. Does Desrow know about this though? No, it's just clearing up creep. So now he's gonna see the hatchery. Be like, what? Meanwhile, those Colossus being out of position the way they are does open a doorway here on the left side for Hendralisk to start darting around. Does get on top of the pylon, picks off that probe. No reinforcements out here. Of course, back here they will be. But there's also no muscular augments on these Hydralisks. There's no running away from this fight. So if Hendra takes a fight, he has to actually fight this out with his Hendras. He's got no chance to disengage with them. Meanwhile, Extended Thermal Lance will be finished here in a moment's time. Right now, the Hydralisks can actually fight the Colossus due to their range, I guess, equality. But, of course, not dedicating to this fight. He is going to finish up this hatchery. It's just so weird. I know he's not going to be mining off of this. Like, is this just him investing 300 minerals to say you're not taking an expansion? I mean, it'll have creep spread. Broodlings will be out. He distracts the army, sees where it is. Once again, moves over to the left side of the map. Desrow cannot dedicate to this. And he can't even afford to leave one zealot behind chipping at it either, which might be your ideal situation, because he actually needs everything here on the front lines. That's a lot of Hydras. That's a hell of a lot of Roaches. The count for Hendralisk is 27 and 28 respectively. And, well, Extended Thermal Lance is complete at this point, but can he actually take this fight? There's not enough force fields in the world, not in this army at least, to actually deal with this appropriately. Time Warp does go down, but Hendralisk focuses on the Nexus, turns around on top of the army, wraps in for the backside. Can't quite connect to those Colossus, though. Will snipe the Nexus, however. And let's not forget, it's not like Desrow can easily expand over here. He's got this creep blocking it out. This queen's actually... What is this queen doing? Some creep tumors? Maybe? I don't know. Awkward engagement still going on in the middle of the map. Those Colossus working fantastically this game. 8 kills, 4 kills. Not exactly devastating kill counts, but the damage they've dealt has been absolutely what's been necessary to keep Desrow in this game, in the fight. Hendralisk walks away, definitely behind on the resources lost, but through all of this, he buys time to get an actual 4th base up, technically a 5th. He moves on to Hive Tech, so he'll have Vipers coming out at some point. And this was really cool. It's, you know, I kind of thought this was a bit of a joke, maybe a little bit of BM on the side, but what this base did was every time Desrow went over to kill it, that was Hendralisk knowing the army was out of position and the ability to move in and on top of it and try to, well, kill that 3rd like he did. Gets on top of the Colossus once again, will not quite get it. The Roaches are busy shooting the Sentries and the Stalkers, maybe some focus fire. I don't know, he's cleared out most of the gateway units. Hendralisk still has a lot of units in play. These Colossus, this is 2 levels. They can't retreat up. They have to fight where they stand, and Desrow will not fight for much longer. The Colossus are starting to fall, and Hendralisk is going to win this game. GG. Game number 1 goes to Hendralisk. Oh, boy. Solo YOLO casting. Brost. Drink like all the water. All of the waters. But yeah, so we're gonna hop into game number 2 here in just a moment's time. The map order, sorry, I got water all over my mouth here, is gonna be Overgrowth for map number 2. Not super shocking, as well, that's kind of the standard, is a standard does. What I do find interesting, though, is that if this goes to Game 3, it will actually be Nimbus as the 3rd and final map, should that be the case. Let's wait for an invite here to the game, though. There we go. Let's real ID instead. Because apparently if I wait for invites, I don't get them. I said I'd leave the salt behind me. I was lying! Alright. Okay, looks like we got most people in the lobby. Hendralisk saying he's ready to rock and roll. Desrow just asking for a quick moment. Surprised to collect his thoughts after that game. Again, don't forget, guys, even if Desrow does fall here to a 2-0, which I really don't see happening, truthfully. Like, this should be a 2-1 in my mind, but should he fall here, there's the loser's match where he'll fight against the winner of Eric versus Darkness. Now, I believe Desrow had mentioned to me that he'd lost a map to Eric in the past, and of course, he beat Darkness 2-1 already, but that could be a very interesting finals, a lot closer of a finals than I think I would have otherwise expected, should that end up being the case. But yeah, as soon as Jess is back, we'll go, guys. Save image as. Sorry, I'm just doing some Twitter stuff in the background. Add the photo. All right, Des was back. He's ready. Good luck, have fun, it's called. Looks like we'll be getting into the game here. Fight the mod mafia oppression, says Beirut. What's up, Beirut? How you doing, man? Beep roop. Water all over my mouth. Isn't that the point where you pour it into your mouth? Shut up, Bobble! I was really thirsty, alright? Jeez. Freaking serious, gosh! Oh, my hat. I gotta like put tape over it or something when I use my green screen. Anyways, Overgrowth, map number 2. We So we call the ambulance. I don't know, something about balance wine, something Sergo P, something power protoss. Anyways, we're gonna load into the game here, and once again, this should be an interesting one because I gotta be truthfully honest with you. I think if Hendralisk loses this series, that would be in my mind a little bit of an upset. But not to take anything away from Desrow, I said it before, and I'll stand by it. I really think he's got a chance to take Hendralisk down. Whether that ends up being the case or not, we'll see. Spawning in the top right corner of the map, playing for Complexity Gaming. Leading the series 1-0 here in the winner's match of Group C for Copa America. It is the Blue Zerg player, Hendralisk. Once again, I will emphasize that he is in the winner's match. Same is his opponent down here in the bottom left. Not on a team, but sponsored by Aces Corsair, Chairs for Gaming, and maybe there's more I don't know about, but it is the Red Protoss player, the independent Desrow. But anyways, yes, with this being the winner's match and a loser's match to fall to, there's still a chance to compete in Copa America and all these other wonderful things and this and that and blah, blah, blah. But I think the one thing we have to talk about here kind of extrapolates a little bit away from the series, and we're just going to talk about something unrelated to the game for a moment until something crazy happens. But Copa America, you know, these 3 seasons of Copa are cool. To be honest, a $1,000 prize pool for how long each season draws out is not that big of a deal. But it's not the prize pool per season that really matters. It's about getting the points so you can compete in the grand finals, which has a massive prize pool. Information about it and everything can be found on the website, copaamerica.starcraft2.com. Actually, hang on, where is this? I'm pretty sure I was looking at this before. I want to see 15,000 again, but I don't want to be like spouting the wrong number, because I was spouting the wrong number before. Hooba-da-ba-da-ba-da. Yeah, so over the course of Copa America, there's a lot of money put into this. Each season has about a $1,000 prize pool, and looks like the series finale at the end of the year, the grand finals, will have, well, $5,000 for first place, and that's what matters the most. Lots of other cash prizes involved as well, but yeah, Copa America all leads towards that finals more than anything else. Anyways, sorry, we did have a proxy hatch go down as I was tabbed out looking. Hendralisk is being incredibly annoying with this, but it's not actually successfully doing much. It's barely blocking the Nexus by 1 grid, so Desrow has to keep his, yeah, he has to keep pulling probes in this. Now the problem is Desrow's losing a lot of mining through this. Oh, Hendralisk does lose the drone, has 140 minerals in the hole, but truthfully, to be honest with you guys, Desrow's been losing about close to 200 minerals per minute while this has been going on, so even at the end of the day, as weird as it is to consider, this ends up being kind of cost effective. Desrow double gas is behind this, by the way. Of course, he's a little bit behind now on account of the way this opened up, but without a Cyber Core going down right away to take this many gases, wait, is he gonna go 2 and 2? If he's 2 and 2, then maybe this makes a little bit more sense economically speaking, but he doesn't really have a lot of anything to put the gas into, so he actually does go full on gas. Really curious to see what he plans to do with this. One of the big things potentially most likely could be just for that further tech. Like, I don't know that he's... I can't see Desrow going fast DTs. It's just not in his repertoire. Not that we've seen in the past. It could very well be a Stargate opener. And if you play Sky Toss, that could be incredibly dangerous and scary to deal with. But on the other hand, this could just be for, once again, you're a little bit on tin of like, oh, stupid hatchery, I'm down 1 in the series, don't mess with me. And rather than playing that super duper excellent precision, as I forget how to speak English here, you'll have yeah, just a small little thing here and there, getting a little bit greedy for gas, or too much on one, not enough chrono boost on the other type thing. Anyways, enough criticism about Desrow. It really doesn't matter. It's the gases I'm overanalyzing to fill time. The reality is, behind this, Hendralisk takes 3 bases of his own. He's droning up like crazy. He's got a couple of things out in the field, but nothing really worth fighting for or with. So Desrow could go for a poke, and there are standard pokes in this matchup. Hell, there's standard pokes for Protoss, period. You know, a Zealot, a Stalker, and a Mothership go across the map, do a bit of damage. If that's the case, maybe kill a couple drones, maybe kill a good chunk of the legs, and maybe even a Queen if while you're at it. Because Queens are actually not that good. A Zealot can almost take on a Queen 1v1 anyways. You get the Mothership core in the mix, it absolutely wins that fight. And a couple lanes running across passes. Stalkers really don't do that much to it, but he is heading across the map with that poke. Now this is a bit of a nuisance. These two lings aren't going to kill a lot. In fact, the sentry should be able to kill both of them, but they are going to get scout, so they'll see Desrow's second gas being taken. Kind of a big tell. Moving up here northwards, this third base, not in a lot of danger with two queens here. If it's just one queen, Desrow will be no problems dealing a bunch of damage. But with, wow, not just two, but three, but four queens coming in for the defense, he might get a queen if he's lucky, but that's not even going to be the case. So Desrow has to back away from this. Queens are fantastic units defensively early on. Obviously, the later the game goes, they kind of lose their role as defenders and more gain the role of like a medic through transfuses, but they do a great job holding for the time being. We've even got creep spread behind this. Hendralisk has not gone too heavy here on the queens. 5 in total, so 2 for creep. Oh, no, 6 in total, sorry. No, wait, 5, because I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could have also just said, oh, 6. Damn it! I was going to say, just hit the unit tab to take a look at that real quick. But that is actually a little bit heavier than I would have expected. So he better have some good creep spread as a result of this. Meanwhile, back on for Desrow, he's got a lot of sentries gearing up. He's got a couple of gateways down. We see what is most likely and potentially going to be a robo for Immortals. Taking a third base could still be for the Immortal Sentry attack. Now, please note that I'm saying attack and not all in because he's taking a third base. Hallucinated Phoenix is going to get some good scouting information behind this too. One of the big things it does see is that layer coming up here for Hendralisk completing in a moment's time. So Desrow knows his opponent's not too far behind on tech. This might be a bit of an opportunity to go in and attack a third. The nice thing, and this is good for Protoss, good for aggression in general, not so good for defenders on Overgrowth, is there's not just like 1, 2, and 3 very vulnerable spots you have to defend at any given time. And well, now 4th and 5th as he extends for another base very early. Desrow should be able to knock that down, but there's no reason for him to really know about it, so the focus of the attention will most likely go towards the third. That is a fairly fast 4th, so you're not really expecting to check out there, but if Desrow recognizes that the army count is really, really low, this might be, I guess, the information he needs to see, like, wait a minute, where's that extra 300 minerals? Why is that not an army? Check the base? I don't know. Anyways, there is going to be an Immortal with this army. Should be. Wait, where is he? Oh, popping out here. Sorry, I don't know why. For a moment I was like, wait, can you warp in Immortals? I'm having one of those days, guys. That would be so broken if you could warp in Robo units. Anyways, it does take a third, as we pointed out before, and like I indicated, this is not really an all-in, but more of an attack. Desrow going for those weapon upgrades, going for those blinks. This is not a fun map to try and defend against Mutalisks on, and Hendralisk is setting up for a Spire. This does get revealed too through that Hallucinated Phoenix, but one of the big things to keep in mind is like whether you plan to go Mutalisks or not, Desrow, ooh, actually, double Stargates, so even if he does go Mutas, Desrow's actually going to have the tools to deal with this. A lot of the time you get caught off guard, and oh, he is going to get caught off guard a little bit here. These sentries are surrounded by lings. He's going to lose 1, 2, 3, 4 sentries through this attack, forces a recall. Oh, out of position in the middle of the map like that. Desrow was not ready. He was not prepared for that many lings to get on top of his army that quickly. Now, he should be able to defend. Again, his SimCity's looking pretty good on the right side. There's only one opportunity to really get in here and attack. No cannons down, though, is going to hurt just a little bit. Not having that static D to assist out. Let's not forget, too, he's only got 1 photon overcharge available. He did have to burn 100 energy on that recall. The Immortal, despite getting low, still stands, and what's problematic for Desrow is, like, he knows the this Roach Zergling Force is more of a distraction than anything else. There's going to be Mutalisks behind this. So he starts preparing the Phoenix, and I admire this move, but the Phoenix are absolutely no good if he loses everything before the Mutalisks even come into effect. Now, that's not going to be the case, but Hendralisk's army is still quite scary. The mobility of the Roaches and I guess the speed of the Lings could duck in and out real quick. What I do like that Desrow did, and this seems silly, is the hold position on the Zealots around this Nexus. It prevents the Zerglings from getting that full surround and getting that quick focused cancel and then disengaging / dying with whatever's on his half of the map. Now, Phoenixes are great. They outrange the Mutalisks without any upgrades. Of course, you eventually get Anion Pulse Crystals, and they outrange them even further, making them even better units to fight with. Phoenixes are one of the few units in the game. I guess you could technically classify a Mothership Core and a Carrier through this, but the Phoenixes have one of the most well built-in attack while moving type abilities in the game. Desrow is going to have this nice advantage where you can shred the Mutalisks to bits should Hendralisk decide to fight them. It does take a bit of a dogfight, but once again, it's not the Mutalisks he's got to worry about. It's the Roaches, it's the Zerglings. Good Force Fields on the right side. These Mutalisks will not get enough damage done, and once the Mutalisks are cleaned up, he can start Graviton beaming up the Roaches. Start worrying less about these Lings, but these Zealots are doing a great job. With level 2 weapon upgrades, they're just shredding through most of these Lings. Will there be too much? Hendralisk is still flooding in with hundreds of reinforcements, it feels like, but I think Desrow might just barely hold the lines. He's going to have to warp in some more Zealots for sure. His Immortals are gone, but so are the Roaches, so not really that big of a threat anymore. It's just this flood of Lings and Mutalisks that are going to be a problem. Now we see Hendralisk investing some Corruptors as well behind this. His drone count sitting on 72 while this is going on, looking absolutely fantastic, but this attack had it was a really nice trade from both sides. The difference is Desrow comes out with Sky Dominance. Now, Hendralisk is changing up to the Hydralisk Den. I actually like this a lot. I was going to say you can go full-on Mutalisk Corruptor. It's a strategy that I've seen win show matches. It's a strategy that has won WCS matches. But fighting against massive Phoenixes is not fun, nor is it easy. With Chrono Boost and their cost effectiveness, it's not very difficult to just get a ton of these bad boys turned out real fast. And the one thing I do worry about for Desrow is it feels to me like the few times he's ever gone above like the 13 Phoenix count in any matchup, PvT, PvZ, PvP, well, I've never seen him do it PvP, those are the games he loses. So I'm not sure if this will be an over-dedication. Right now it certainly is. They will have their position, their spot, and their role in the game though, as he starts getting Colossus added into the army. One of the things is they will sort of vanguard the Colossus against the Corruptors. Obviously no more Mutalisks are going to be made. There's a couple in play, but that was it. Desrow, he maintained his third while this was going on, but let's not forget, Hendralisk has had this fourth base up for an absurdly long time, with a very high drone count. Now, he could technically go possibly that higher drone count, like, you could go upwards of, like, say, 80, you could go 90 drones if you wanted to, but the reason he's not is because it's not very supply efficient in this matchup. You'll see this happen more ZVT than ZVP, but Desrow takes a gold base. Ooh, interesting. Hendralisk, by the way, has taken every base except his own gold. I'm a little bit curious on this choice, as it's the late game with the Colossus that'll make this gold a lot harder to contest, but I guess it's a lot more minerals for the late game should he be able to survive the acceleration of income Desrow will benefit from here, that he will enjoy from his own gold base. Phoenix count is sitting at 13 right now. Hey, that's that number I called earlier. Remember? I said 13. So not going above 13, but staying at 13. Maybe this will be that perfect sweet spot that he needs. As we see, we got the Spore Crawler here on the front lines. Always looks a little bit awkward. Hendralisk is trying to consume, I don't know, AFK Vipers. Please? Like, what are you... okay, whatever. The Vipers are, like, going full dumbass mode here. But Pastor Glan's on the way behind this. He's going to try and fungal those Phoenixes should he be able to give him the opportunity. Ultra Cavern I really like behind this because there's not really going to be that many Immortals. It's going to be mostly Colossus. But as he dogfights in the air and corrupts everything here with the ability of those Corruptors, the Hydralisks are going to start pushing through. They have no upgrades, though. Actually, hold the phone. Might not be able to just bully Desrow into submission. This looks really scary at first glance, but keep in mind, Hendralisk's army is completely naked. The only thing with upgrades are these Corruptors. However, not able to focus on the Corruptors and force the Stalkers to fight the Roaches. Blink is available and he will evacuate to the high ground, but without the Colossus, there's no easy way to deal with these Hydralisks. Now forcing the Phoenixes to come back into the fight. Whoa! That pylon going down depowers the Robo, and that's going to be the Colossus production in the gutter. Now rely on the Stalkers and the Phoenixes to hold this game. We do have Photon Overcharge come off, and the Stalkers, they've got a lot of damage associated with them. The Phoenixes are sadly starting to bleed out to these Corruptors, but as the Corruptors get cleaned up, you can start swooping in here, Graviton beaming up the Hydralisks. As we see, Hydralisks get melted by the Phoenix Fire, but Phoenixes also get melted by the Hydralisk Fire, so at the end of the day, it's not going to be enough. Desrow loses his natural, GG's out, and Hendralisk will take the series 2-0 and be the first person out of Group C.